Russian. And Forget-Me-Nots. Featured in the smooth jazz contemporary classic featured on the movie Big. For him and that sweet candy are jumping on the trampoline. Now, back to being normal.
That was a classic, by the way.
Yeah, I love that song. Love that song. A lot of the music you're going to be hearing come out of this hour is going to be a lot of like 80s or like classic songs. But let's get into a topic that I've been looking forward to this year. Let's get into some baseball talk.
Baseball.
So we got 15 days till spring training. Let me ask a question. I know Jaze is a huge Yankees fan. Big diehard Yankees fan, can spit out statistics, games, anything that you would want to know.
To some degree.
He'll give you at least a great synopsis, and that's one thing that I'm really excited about having him for this semester for this show, and in Guy Talks, especially his knowledge in baseball. That's going to be key. Because I know my way around the field. Well, let's just say
you're a good player, Frankie. That's one thing. You're no slouch.
Yeah. So we got 15 days spring training. Johnny, what do you think about Yanks this year? What do you think about the pinstripes this year? What are we doing?
Well, the pinstripes this year look already significantly better than they did last year. There's obviously a few things that they've lost, a few core things, all puns intended. Obviously, you're not going to be able to replace Mariano Rivera. You're not going to be able to replace Andy Pettitte in intangibles. People forget that Mariano Rivera has been a dominant closer throughout his entire career, and the thing that you can't replace about Mariano on the field is the consistency from year to year. But you do have guys that have years like Mariano Rivera. It's just they don't have them consistently throughout an extremely long career, and that's why you're not going to be able to get that from other closers in the market or other guys that you try and build up as closers. You'll get good closers who can have a year that may be even better than Mariano Rivera, like a Kimball, for example.
What do you think about a guy like Jabba?
Well, Jabba Chamberlain, he was actually, he was a free agent this year, and he was picked up by the Detroit Tigers. So, they got him on a pretty much low-risk deal, a little over $1 million, if I recall correctly. Maybe it was $2 million. But Jabba Chamberlain, I really liked Jabba's career with the Yankees. He was a kind of like a Richard Sherman type in the sense that he had a knack for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, and just him acting like a straight buffoon. He was very, very good at that, but obviously when he stormed on the scene in 2007, it was incredible. After he had, suffered all those injuries in 2000, when, needed Tommy John, and then had dislocated his ankle jumping on a trampoline with his son in 2012, he actually came back and pitched well into the playoffs and well into September and, the late season or what have you. But the Yankees, they look good this year. There's still some question marks. We need to see how Mark Teixeira primarily is going to return from wrist surgery that he had last year.
And what else did he have besides that?
That's it. It was just he had wrist surgery.
The whole year he was hurting?
Yeah. What had happened is Mark Teixeira was invited to play in the international tournament, the Winter Classic or what have you. He was set to represent the United States, and while hitting off a tee, practicing for that, which you have to get ready a little bit earlier than spring training when you're going to be in the Winter Classic, because those international games take place before actual regular season games start. So hitting off the tee before really full swing spring training, which is what he's been accustomed to his career, he managed to tear the sheath in his wrist. That's a similar injury to actually the same injury that Jose Bautista had for the Toronto Blue Jays. And he made the same mistake as Jose Bautista in that he just tried to sit out for a significant portion of the beginning of the season to see if it would heal without surgery. Came back, hit a couple grand slams. His average and on-base percentage took a dive, and then he realized, listen, I'm still in pain. I need to get this surgery. Had he have gotten that surgery at the beginning of the year when he had hurt his wrist, he probably would be further along in his rehab than he is right now. He says, and his doctors say, he's ready to be on the field, but he's still experiencing tightness, and the Yankees have no contingency plan for Mark Teixeira being gone. So I would look for the Yankees to pick up somebody on a minor league deal or maybe even just a small-level contract to sort of just back up Mark Teixeira. A lot of analysts were suggesting that Mark Reynolds would be that guy, but he's actually signed with the Brewers, so he will not be that guy. But that's a big question because they're expecting Mark Teixeira, a power switch hitter, to bat in the middle of the lineup. So if he's not himself, then that can really dampen the offense. However, by the same token, the offense is extremely deep with the acquisition of Brian McCann from the Atlanta Braves, Carlos Beltran from the Cardinals, Derek Jeter is back, and that's another guy that you have to watch his ankle. However,
definitely.
a lot of people made a little bit bigger a deal about his ankle last year, especially towards the end when he was pulling his calf, pulling his quad, or what have you. Frankie, you're an athlete. You've been an athlete for many years. I'm an athlete, and anybody who knows anything about basic athletics knows that if you hurt something and it's not fully healed, and you continue to play and work out through that,
it's never gonna heal properly.
Exactly, and everything else in your body will be extremely strong, extremely toned, extremely ready, but you'll overcompensate on that one area that is not up to par with the rest, and so then maybe you'll pull a muscle around the ankle, for example. And that's what was happening to Derek Jeter a lot last year. So what that tells me is his ankle was healed, he just wasn't fully worked out. He didn't truly have his legs under him. Now, after a full off season, taking almost the entire season off last year, he's had the time to strengthen up his entire body and to create flexibility and stability on both sides, on his upper and lower half. So I would expect Derek Jeter. I'm not expecting the 2012 numbers. I don't expect him to be fifth place in the MVP, but I would say I'd expect him to bat 300. And have a Derek Jeter-like season.
Yeah, which is always clutch, and that's why the guy's the captain, man. What do you think about? So we got the regular season. Pretty much, we got a couple of key things that hopefully, if they work out properly.
Oh, we have some huge things, especially Masahiro Tanaka.
That's exactly what I was going to get into next, man. Now, what do you think? Now, here's the deal. I've heard mixed. On one side of the fence, I hear this is an incredible move for the Yankees. I think this is great. A lot of guys like Yu Darvish have come out of the Japanese leagues, pitching wise, and have done really well. And then on the opposite end, we have, this guy's never thrown a pitch in the major leagues yet. So a lot of people are like, wow, this looks absolutely amazing. And then you have people who are thinking, yeah, this is what's going to happen. So winds up, throws a pitch. Oh, out of the park. That's what I've heard on both sides. Now, from hearing both sides of the spectrum, Johnny, what do you lean more towards? You lean more towards the left-hand side of, like, yeah, I think this is going to be a great pick for the Yankees. This is going to be a good move. On the right-hand side of, he really hasn't thrown a major league pitch, and I think this is going to be a position that's not going to be too good for him or for the Yankees staffing.
I mean, I think that the people on the opposite side of the spectrum who feel like this wasn't a good move tend to probably be either Mets or Red Sox fans, because at the end of the day,
that's
one
true
of the
too.
biggest complaints about the New York Yankees, year after year after year,
money cap.
Well, not necessarily. That's obviously the evil empire, but that's kind of part of the territory. The Dodgers are also they have their own little evil empire going as well. The Red Sox, although they're the first to snub their nose at spending a lot of money, let's not forget that if they weren't able to dump out those big contracts to the Dodgers, then they'd be almost as evil as our evil empire. But what I'm getting at with this is, one of the big complaints that people have about the Yanks is their age. So when you sign a 25-year-old international superstar pitcher to a 7-year deal with an opt-out option after 4 years, what really can be the big complaint here? Let's say, if absolute worst case scenario, the guy this year blows his arm out, has Tommy John surgery. Are people complaining about Matt Harvey for the Mets, an absolute ace pitcher who blew his arm out and now needs Tommy John surgery? No. Why not? Well, because he's a young guy. You know that there is ample time for him to bounce back and try and reinvent himself, reinvent his arm, etc., and continue to be successful. And with a guy like Masahiro Tanaka, you have that same opportunity. But that's assuming the absolute worst thing that can possibly happen happens. The reality of what it seems will happen is the guy's been a workhorse. He's thrown as many pitches at his age as almost any of the great pitchers in Major League Baseball have thrown, probably maybe even a little more. So that can make you worried, like, is he going to blow his arm out? Or it can also make you confident in the CC Sabathia sense or a Felix Hernandez sense, like, wow, this guy's a workhorse. You give him the ball, he's going to take it, and he's going to give you innings. I think it's truly and there has been some good signings for the New York Yankees in this offseason. I would say it is their best signing, hands down.
It's bringing in Tanaka.
Yeah, it's hands down. It's one of their best signings. And the reason I say this is because the glaring hole, the gaping hole in the Yankees game, this year was looking like the starting rotation, and that's because Andy Pettit's gone, and even though he's an older guy, and we all know that, he also brought a lot to the table, just in veteran leadership, and he also was, pitched pretty decently this year and quite well the year before that. Masahiro Tanaka figures to potentially be a significantly better starter than Andy Pettit at this stage of Andy Pettit's career, and he actually has a similar pitching repertoire to Hiroki Kuroda, another pitcher in the Yankees.
Who I think was clutch for us last
He's awesome.
year.
He's awesome. He's out of all starting pitchers to come to the major leagues from Japan, he has the best ERA in the history.
Which is a great use and an argument for someone who's going to say that Tanaka wasn't a good pickup. It's just like, have you not seen Hiroki Kuroda pitch? Have you not seen Yu Darvish pitch? Like, those are two people that came to my mind immediately from Japan coming into New York. Not New York, coming into America and actually having a heck of a productive season.
And specifically, Hiroki Kuroda throws a splitter, much like Masahiro Tanaka. That's actually Masahiro Tanaka's bread and butter pitch is his splitter, and it's essentially, it just dives down. It comes in looking like a fastball. He's throwing it harder than anybody in the major leagues throws it, and
Which is exciting to watch.
A lot of Japanese pitchers will come in. Koji Uehara for the Boston Red Sox, their closer, he had a devastating splitter. It was really recorded so many strikeouts with that splitter. Hiroki Kuroda, that's one of his bread and butter pitches. But the difference is Masahiro Tanaka throws it harder than either of those guys. It literally looks like a fastball, and then it just literally dives off the table. So it's really exciting. It's going to be great to watch him strike out Big Papi a couple times, you know?
Who I can't wait to see strike out. Don't get me wrong. He's the only player on the Red Sox I don't mind.
Because he is excellent.
Because he is a heck of a baseball player, but I love watching him strike out.
Yeah, especially against us. Against any other team.
Because there's a lot of people who carry, who live in New York, born and raised in New York, but for some reason wear Red Sox colors. And
Lost
it's just
souls.
like, to me, you're just self-loathing at that point. Like, you just have no soul.
I have to be different, you know?
You know, it's just like, you wake up, you have your latte, you discuss contemporary jazz.
It's because we're millennials.
I can't. I get angry just hearing that. I get mad just hearing that. I don't ask me why, but blood rushes to my head. I get lightheaded and I start turning into Dexter. Instantly when I hear talk like that. It's just being around that for a while when people are like, yeah, I went to New England earlier, I was just at the Red Sox game, and they're just like such a better,
so much tradition at Fenway Park.
I just really think that there's something that's just so magical about Fenway. I'm like, the one thing that's magical is what's going to happen when the doctor diagnoses you after the beating I've just given you. That's going to be magical.
No, but aside, Hiroki Kuroda is a pitcher that can really take Masahiro Tanaka under his wing and help him get adjusted to American League hitters and just major league hitters and help him adjust in that way. But one person on the Yankee roster who can actually help Masahiro Tanaka adjust to being a superstar, because he's going to be more of a superstar coming into New York than Hiroki Kuroda was, because he's a champion in Japan. He came off his championship season. He went 24-0 this last year in Japan. And the Yankees signed him to one of the biggest contracts for a pitcher of all time. So there's obviously going to be the Japanese media presence, the New York media presence, the baseball media presence. But one player on the Yankee squad that's going to help him adjust to that and sort of help him understand what it's like to be an American and have that attention is Ichiro Suzuki. He's overlooked all the time.
Another great baseball player.
He's later on in his career. He's not the player he once was, although I still think he's an effective player, especially off the bench. But one thing he's going to be able to really help Masahiro Tanaka with is getting adjusted to being in that type of, American, New York, Yankees limelight, which is something that Masahiro Tanaka... I believe that Masahiro Tanaka's press conference will potentially be one of the biggest Yankee press conferences of all time. We're talking bigger than Yu Darvish. It's going to be up there with Matsui type of cameras flashing, tons and dozens and dozens of questions. Just a really big moment, just a media frenzy, a circus, if you will. And Ichiro Suzuki is someone who's used to that. When he was in Seattle, when he was had that MVP season and was just recording hits like an absolute machine, the media was all over him. So he'll be able to help Masahiro Tanaka just get accustomed to that and sort of be prepared. And it's little things that people don't think about: what restaurants to go to, what sort of communities to go to, different things to get involved with for a Japanese-born player who's coming to a different country, a different world almost in a certain respect. But luckily for these guys, there's a huge Japanese population in New York, so I don't think that Masahiro Tanaka will ever feel out of place. And
No, definitely not. Not especially New York of all places, man. There would be no reason for that. But I think good pickup.
Excellent pickup.
I'm definitely excited for. I'm definitely excited for this season. I thank Jaze for giving his opinion on, especially when it comes to baseball. Guys, definitely, as you can hear, man, the guy definitely knows the stuff. So we're gonna take a song break. Be right back, and then when we be back, we'll close up for you guys. But in the meantime, enjoy the deliciousness of Gloria Estefan.